Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Kelly with my officer Maxwell, Tengey, paramedic Tengey. Okay. I'd like to demonstrate to you the use of the ventilator. First of all, we like to let you know the parts and the names and the function of the accessories to the ventilator. This ventilator is we call it Wayman. It's a Wayman ventilator. You can see that's the brand name, Wayman ventilator. It has this is a tube, the ventilator tube, which is connected to the ventilator to deliver the oxygen. We also have the trigger. This is a trigger which is used to connect, also deliver manual ventilation that during CPR. We also have the face mask, which is connected to the tube to deliver the to cover the face of the patient, also for a tight seal and effective ventilation. Now, this is the regulator. A regulator, the pressure gauge, which also will determine the content or the pressure in the oxygen and also the volume of gas in the cylinder. So there are two regulators here. Now, this is the connector which connects the ventilator to the cylinder, the mobile cylinder. So in connecting it, you just fix it in. There are some locks in it, so as you tilt it, it will get locked. There are some locks in it, so just removing it, you press this black valve down, then you remove it. Now when you are connecting, as you insert, you press down and you tilt it and it will get fixed. When you are removing, you press this one down, then it comes up. So when connecting, you insert, then you tilt it, it's locked. So we've connected the ventilator to the oxygen, which is behind. For the sake of demonstration, we wouldn't remove the cylinder because we have to untie this, unnut this anti-clockwise, then separate the oxygen cylinder from the regulator. Then we open the fast, then we pull it out here. When we are getting it back the same way, we close it whilst we join this nut, the regulator to the cylinder. So that is how the components of the cylinder are. Now, ventilator has three main use. The three main use, that's what we're going to discuss for now. The three main uses, that's what we're going to discuss for now. One, for it's used as a supplementary oxygen to a patient who is having difficulty in breathing. He's breathing though, but he needs some supplementary oxygen or a support. So this ventilator can be used as such for a patient with difficulty in breathing. It can also be used for a respiratory arrest victim. On a respiratory arrest victim, a patient who has pulse but he has ceased breathing, which causes apnea. So it can be used on a respiratory arrest victim and a patient who is not breathing and there's no pulse. That's a cardiac arrest victim. The same ventilator can be used. So it can be used for at least the three indications: difficulty in breathing patient who needs oxygen support, respiratory arrest, somebody who is not breathing, has pulse, and the third person is one who is not breathing and also not having pulse. Now let's start from the one having difficulty in breathing. That's the one who is not breathing. Now we're having difficulty in breathing. So in that, before we have already checked if there is oxygen in the cylinder. That's one of the routine checks you have to do in the ambulance. If not, you find yourself wanting when you carry this and realize there's no oxygen, and by then it started applying it on the patient is very embarrassing. So always, this is one of the things, always check whether your oxygen is full or there is amount in it that can resuscitate a patient or can help to save life. So we have done that. We check from the flow, but before you open oxygen cylinder. You can hear the voice command. He said we should open oxygen cylinder. Now, so connect patient. Now oxygen flow mode. The moment you open the oxygen, it will tell you demand flow, meaning now the oxygen has been opened. However, on demand flow, we are talking about a patient who can breathe but having difficulties. So with a demand flow, we normally switch to the demand flow where demand flow, you could see it has been written here, demand flow. So at this level of the gauge or area of the gauge is where a patient is breathing though, but he needs a supplementary oxygen. So the demand flow rather would deliver an oxygen to what the patient is demanding. So when you connect, so as you connect your face mask to the tube, the ventilation tube, now as you place it in the face of the patient, sake of hygienic purpose, I will not directly put the face mask on me. So let's assume my hand is a face mask connected to the valve of the tube. Now you could hear so as the patient inhales, there's a pressure in the tube. So as the pressure is created, the demand flow also is released. It allows oxygen to pass through the tube. So let me do it another time. So as I connect, assuming this is a face mask to the tube, so you could hear the sound. So at the demand flow, it's normally used for a patient who needs a supplementary oxygen or difficulty in breathing patient, where maybe it's you can't go get any mobile oxygen around and your ventilator is there. You can use it for that purpose. So it can serve as an oxygen delivery device or equipment as well. That's the demand flow. Now, as cause of delivering the oxygen for a patient who is having difficulty, all of a sudden the patient ceases breathing. The moment the patient ceases breathing, he can no longer pull out just like the demand flow where he pulls it. So you have to give. So by switching from the demand flow, and if you have to also have to check, is he or she a pediatric, a child, or an adult, and they are color coded. So based on the nature or the type of patient you are dealing with is where you regulate these two. So if it's a child or a pedi, yellow, orange for children, and the deep brown or the light brown is for the adult. So assuming I'm dealing with a child, a pedi, so I just move
20 millibar.
the gate to yellow, which is for pedi. Indication here yellow, so I switch to yellow, so you can see it's at the yellow. So at this, you can see, you could hear the ventilation is being released, and you can count it. It's mostly approximately 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's more of every 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds, and oxygen is delivered automatically. Now, assuming the fellow is a child, where you move to the orange column.
Ventilation system and settings.
And there's one thing you should also assess. When it was at the pedi, the pressure was less. Within the 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds, so the pressure was less. Now, when you come to the child, you see it has increased. The pressure in it is a bit higher than that of the children, the pedi. Now, it also gives within 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. So we could check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. one. So it's within at least 5 seconds. It also delivers. Now, when you are going, should the patient be an adult, then you switch to the adult column. You could even hear the pressure is higher than that of the children and the pedi. So the pressure is also higher. So it's just as that for respiratory arrest patient or a victim. Now, as a cause of, you know, also by BLS standard, basic life support or advanced life support, when the patient is in respiratory arrest, in as much you are ventilating the patient, you should assess the patient every 2 minutes for pulse, because the difference between respiratory arrest and cardiac arrest is the cardiac arrest, no breathing, no pulse, but with respiratory arrest, he has pulse or she has pulse, but he's not breathing. So it could be possible a patient who is not breathing with pulse can be unresponsive, not breathing, and also cease of pulse. So you check that every 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes of ventilation, you check, and there is no pulse. Then what you have to do is, now you know when it's no breathing, unresponsive, no pulse, you resume CPR by chest compression. But you have to press this. You could see this CPR. It's written. You could see CPR. So on the CPR written here, that's the. What you have to do is to press that, and the check for pulse. There's no pulse. You should assume the patient is in cardiac arrest. Then you press this
CPR mode.
So you activate the CPR mode.
Triggered manually.
So as you activate the CPR mode, you can see it count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23.
Provide 2 ventilations now.
Now, so this is connected to the trigger. Now is connected to the mask and the valve now. So you could see also a light indicating 2 lights, meaning you are supposed to press this to release, manually press this to give the ventilation 2. So after the 30 compression,
provide 2 ventilations now. Perform chest compressions now.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 28, 29, 30. Now you press this, the light to go off, then you wait for light to come, then it comes, you press again the second, then it starts 1, 2. So that is how the ventilator is used for a patient in cardiac arrest. So thank you for now, and I would like to hand over to my officer. Assuming we are done with that, that's when we are using this mobile ventilator. Now in the ambulance, the ventilator can still be used, but in this case you can decide to use a cylinder, mobile cylinder, which is in the ventilator, or connect the ventilator tube, the oxygen tube of the ventilator, to the base of the ambulance. That's the base. In that case, when you connect it, that means you're going to use the oxygen that is in the base. That part, the oxygen cylinder, 2 huge oxygen cylinders are there. That's which is produced. It's produced through the walls of the ambulance to this outlet. So you connect it here, and you deliver, or you get your oxygen source also from here. That's when you don't want to use the mobile oxygen, or it has gotten exhausted and you are in the ambulance. You can connect this by pushing this one down,
and gas supply.
Then you take it off. Now you bring it here, so connect it to this, then meaning it can still use the oxygen in the base. That's the base ambulance oxygen, to connect to your ventilator and use as source of oxygen for the ventilator.
Rule out respiratory arrest and check mask fit.